Dear friends of Norway and Estonia, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to welcome you today on this virtual business event. Norway has always been one of Estonia's most important partners. Our relations are strong because of common interests and shared values. This is where I thank everyone here for your contribution in making this relationship also economically beneficial. Today, I do not have an easy message for you. The crisis is not yet over, and there is still much uncertainty about the near future. On the other hand, crisis brings us new opportunities to find better solutions to develop our cooperation. By working together, we can recover more quickly and make progress on areas of mutual interest. We already have many excellent examples of profitable cooperation. Orkla, Reitan Group, Citybox Hotel, Biobag, and other Norwegian companies are well known in Estonia, and I see a great perspective in developing our good economic partnership. This crisis has shown us the importance of essential digital services solutions. Estonia has a great capacity to provide these services on the very high level. The challenges we faced and the opportunities we found can inspire others. Made one of the most advanced digital society in the world, Estonia has built an efficient, secure and transparent ecosystem where 99% of governmental services are online. Our experience shows that in order to raise competitiveness of our societies, the using modern technologies and digital solutions is crucial. And Estonia would be happy to share our experience with you. By joining our efforts, Norway and Estonia can contribute to a better world. I firmly believe in the power of our economic and digital cooperation. Together, we can do it. Let me assure you that we appreciate your contribution and welcome the opportunity to find new ways of cooperation in the future. I welcome your ideas and input. Thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister Ratas. And with this, we will switch to our studio in Norway. Welcome, Mr. Lauri Bambus and Mrs. Merike Kaesveld.
Thank you, and dear ladies and gentlemen, Honorable Prime Minister Mr. Jüri Ratas, distinguished entrepreneurs, dear friends in Estonia and Norway. It is my great pleasure to welcome all of you to the virtual business visit hosted by the Estonian Investment Agency. As the Estonian ambassadors to Norway, I am truly pleased to see huge interest in bilateral and regional cooperation of Norwegian and Estonian public and private sectors. Estonia and Norway are paying lots of attention to modernization of our societies and well-being of our people. We have to face together the new challenges the world has, inter alia the climate changes, environmental issues, or challenges caused by the pandemics. Together with other Nordic Baltic countries, we may consider our region as one of the most digitalized in the world. And I would proudly argue that we live in the most connected region in Europe, most probably in the whole world. Estonia cherishes a digital and cyber cooperation with all its neighbors and like-minded countries worldwide. Would it be at the Nordic Institute for Interoperability Solutions or developing and implementing the X-Road, cross-border digital services to support cross-border education, working or business activities, or just the day-to-day e-services, either bilateral, regional, or on a global scale. The current crisis has stressed the importance of digitalization as a tool to strengthen the resilience of affected states and societies. Therefore, I'm truly pleased to see close and constantly enhancing cooperation between our countries, Norway and Estonia, as well in the whole Nordic Baltic region. Dear ladies and gentlemen, the Estonian embassy in Oslo, our active honorary consuls in Norway, and me personally have always great honor and pleasure to point out the long-lasting Estonian-Norwegian cooperation we have had more than 100 years. Next year, in February 2021, we will celebrate the centenary of establishing the diplomatic relations between Estonia and Norway. Last week, I had the pleasure to meet Ms. Linda Catherine Hofstad Helleland, Minister of Districts and Digitalization of Norway, and discuss our wide range of cooperation on digitalization of different spheres of life, including those we focus at the virtual visit today, namely health tech, fintech, and cleantech. However, the list of areas where the new technologies have the utmost importance is much longer. Having this opportunity, let me continue just naming few more. Green tech and smart mobility. That we shall focus on Friday, the 11th of December, when two foreign ministers, Mr. Urmas Reinsalu and Ms. Ine Eriksen-Søreide, will open another virtual meeting between Estonia and Norway. Dear friends, you are also very much welcome to join this event online or follow the recording later. I would like to take this opportunity to assure you that the Estonian Embassy in Oslo, as well as our counterpartners at the Norwegian Embassy in Tallinn, are in your service. Although this year we have had less physical meetings, I would like to believe that next year we will have many more opportunities to enhance our mutually beneficial relations. Let's start and continue to build the new bridges of cooperation today. In these globally complicated times when the coronavirus is challenging all of us, especially in the economic sector, we should use this opportunity to seek joint solutions to improve the digital services our countries, nationals, and companies use. I'm sure that with joint efforts we will become a model region for the whole world. Thank you for your work and dedication. Dear friends, I wish you all a fruitful day, lots of success and happiness for you and your closest. Stay safe and healthy. Wishing you a joyful Christmas season and a prosperous 2021. Edu ja kordaminekuid. Tusen tack och thank you. And now I would like to give the floor to Merike, please.
Hello, my name is Merike Kaesveld, and I'm representing the Estonian Investment Agency. First of all, I would like to thank all the speakers who are taking part in today's event, and special thanks to our partner from Norway, company Explorica, and my colleagues from the Tallinn team who put a lot of effort into making this happen. The Estonian Investment Agency is a unit of Enterprise Estonia, the country's largest support institution for business and entrepreneurship. Estonia is a global leader in the highest number of startups per capita and also has the highest number of unicorns per capita. Estonian startups have raised a total of nearly 1 billion euro in the last 10 years. The increased interest of foreign investors confirms that Estonian startups are being noticed globally. We have a strong startup ecosystem and credible, transparent business environment. Based on the crowdsourced database and Estonian startup database, a total of 142.7 million euro was invested into Estonian startups during the first half of this year. In total, there have been 35 new investment deals this year. The biggest investment in the first half of 2020 was raised by Bolt, 1 million euro, followed by Veriff, 18 million euro, Pactum, 2.7 million euro, and Milrem Robotics, 2.7 million euro. We are the land of unicorns. So far, Estonia has produced 5 unicorns. No other small country has that many. They are well-known Skype, Playtech, TransferWise, Bolt, and Pipedrive, who achieved unicorn status in November 2020. Estonia has a busy supportive and open startup ecosystem with over 1,000 startups and 110 organizations, providing a wide range of services for startups. There are more than 500 events annually. The best known are a startup in Tartu, Latitude 59 in Tallinn, and Robotex in Tallinn. I believe that today will be equally interesting for both parties. Hopefully, this event will lead to many beneficial collaborations. I wish you all a productive day and Merry Christmas. Thank you. And now back to Tallinn studio.
We are now moving on to the next segment of our event. The next segment is CleanTech, and I have the pleasure of welcoming here on stage with me Mr. Indrek Kelder, who will give an overview of the CleanTech sector here in Estonia. Indrek.
Hello, thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm here representing organization CleantechforEstonia or CleantechforEST. This organization was established roughly 5 years ago. We have run different programs here in Estonia for 5 years. It's NGO, and we are developing CleanTech startup community and CleanTech startup activities here in Estonia. I've been involved with the startups since 2003. It was before, in Estonian language, the term for startup was actually invented. Back then it was, these were called innovative enterprises or innovative small companies. Since 2007, startup community building has been really active in Estonia and the environment overall. It was highly successful. We have exactly 5 unicorns by now. Considering we have 1.3 million people, we ourselves consider this pretty nice number. But looking behind that number, this initial success is mostly in the sector of IT, software as a service and similar companies. CleanTech startup was up to 5 years ago considered mostly uninvestable by business angels here in Estonia because this is difficult, it is slow compared to the IT sector. And that's why we established CleantechforEST to support these starting CleanTech startup companies. CleanTech startup history in Estonia goes back into 90s. Perhaps the most successful startup coming from that era is Skeleton Technologies, who is making world's best supercapacitors. But of course, most of the current batch of CleanTech startup companies have born during the last 5 years. There is quite a lot of them. During my slides, I'm going to just scroll through some of the examples who we have supported during the last 5 years. As I understand from the program, a couple of them you are going to meet also during this event today. What can I say? In Estonia right now, especially during the last 2 years, I would say CleanTech startup activity is going through real boom right now. We are seeing dozens of new companies every year, which is pretty good for the nation that small as we are. Most of them are really successful. Several companies, actually, two companies which I know that have closed investment rounds during last month have done 2 rounds per their existence, and this existence is shorter than 12 months. So they are kind of proving that in CleanTech, and especially in hardware CleanTech, you can also move fast if you are good enough. What else? Estonian, so far our activities have been supported by corporate sponsors and European funds. Estonian state has also contributed, but perhaps in lesser extent so far. But the good news is that only recently, during last few weeks, there have been active talks and actually some hints from Estonian state also that in next few years, during next 4 years, up to 300 million euros is put into the sector of CleanTech startups in Estonia, probably in the form of fund competitions. But this is really good news for Estonia. Right now, Estonian early-stage startups are mostly invested by members of Estonian Business Angel Network and some venture capital funds also. But there is definitely shortage of funding right now on the market, and I'm happy to say that this is going to be changed. It doesn't, of course, mean that there is no room for new startups new investors in Estonian startup market. Especially if these investors come with competencies to not provide only dumb money, but smart money, to help develop these companies further towards global markets, who have experience and the network to provide to these startups so that they can grow faster. As I said before, Estonian investors so far have succeeded in the IT sector. So there is, even if there is going to be enough money on the investment market, I would say the next obstacle is going to be sufficient amount of competencies from the side of investors, probably. So co-investments with experienced investors in Estonia with local investors are highly welcome. What else? I guess I'm also running out of time already. You have to forgive me. I have forgotten one point which I prepared in my mind, but which has slipped me. As you see, I'm scrolling through some slides here, which are showing you some of the startups right now active in Estonia. As you see, the sectors which they represent are pretty diverse. There are everything from digital cleantech in software solutions. We are have quite good portfolio in energy sector also. We are good in material handling, also waste management, circular economy. And in recent months, actually, we are thinking about renaming our legal entity, CleantechforEST, also to point out that these days we are not focused only in cleantech anymore. Cleantech is, we can say, so 2015, back when we started. Today we like to say that we are talking about or we are dealing mostly with impact startups, meaning that the impact is not only environmental impact but also social impact. We are in process right now of establishing impact startup accelerator program here in Estonia. Of course, these companies graduating from there are going to raise investments from the new batch of impact investors. So in future, I would like to see Estonia is not known well for its IT and cleantech startups, but for its IT and impact startups. So this is kind of our new strategic buzzword on what we are focusing right now already. I guess that's it from me. Thank you for attention.
Thank you very much, Indrek. We saw a lot of interesting startups actually already in your presentation, and I'm happy to say that some of these we will also have here live on stage later. And now we are actually switching over to Norway. Our next presenter will be Mrs. Katja Kerschke from the Norwegian Solar Energy Cluster. Katja.
Hello. First of all, I would like to thank the Estonian Embassy and the Estonian Investment Agency for organizing the conference and to giving us the opportunity to present our cluster and to touch briefly on some general trends which we see in the market and also on how we work with our partners to help them grow. One second. Now it works. The solar PV market is on the rise and is set to experience higher growth in absolute terms than any other renewable segment. The International Energy Agency estimates that solar power will take over as the primary source for power production by 2040, already surpassing natural gas in 2023 and coal in 2024. A high abundancy, significant cost reductions, technological progress, the need for energy security, and also an increasing public awareness of climate change are among the main drivers for this transition. In this context, investments of many tens of billions of Norwegian crowns in the solar market are expected worldwide. Here, the mobilization of institutional and also private capital will be necessary. One second. It just unfortunately doesn't work to switch the slides now. The financial markets drive sustainable investments. More and more institutional investors have already embedded ESG requirements in their strategies, which will have a significant impact on future sustainable investments and already have an impact. As we can see in the slide, in 2019, 75% new power production went into renewable energies, which is a quite impressive number. The EU Commission already also recognizes that the financial sector will play a crucial role to meet the Paris agreements and to make the energy transition happen. Large amounts of private capital needs to be mobilized here, and the EU tries to set a framework with a EU taxonomy classification system where it's defined what is a green investment, and solar energy actually comes out pretty well in this classification system, which makes us believe that this will attract more capital in the years ahead for the solar energy market. Solar energy in Norway. Even though the domestic market is still at a very early stage, the use of solar energy is picking up pace in Norway as well. As we can see in the slide, there has been a significant growth in installed PV capacity over the last years, especially from 2018 to 2019, the installed capacity more than doubled within a year. And the ongoing electrification of the society will increase the need for renewable energies here in Norway as well. And this can't only be solved by hydropower. Here we expect that solar energy will play a much more considerable role in the Norwegian energy mix. We see good synergies with the wind and hydrogen markets, hydropower markets, and also a high potential for power-to-X technologies, where of course green hydrogen also plays a very important role. We also see that there's a new segment developing in the floating solar segment, a rather new technology where you put solar PV panels on water, where we also believe that Norway can take a leading role. Floating solar is still at the technologies are still at a very early stage of development, but it's the fastest growing segment within solar, and built on Norway's expertise within oil and gas, hydropower, and maritime. We believe, or we see, that the Norwegian industry is very well prepared to cover significant parts of the solar of the value chain here. I would like to mention that yesterday we introduced in our solar conference, or we launched the Veikart mot sol, where you will get a holistic picture of the trends, in particular in the Norwegian market, where we see the opportunities, where you can draw down a bit further in the different segments in the solar market. For all those who are interested, you can download the report on our website. It's in Norwegian, but you can, with Google Translate, easily translate it into English, or contact us and we will be happy to drill down further in the different segments. I just need to open my... Sorry, technical problems with getting the next slide on. Our cluster, or the development of our cluster, pretty much reflects the market trends. We were established in 2013. By 2016, we had around 30 partners. Today, we count for more than 100 partners. The cluster represents the whole Norwegian solar energy industry. And as you can see here, I have a picture of the value chain. The Norwegian players mainly cover all segments, all parts of the value chain, from processing materials such as silicon production, environmental friendly silicon production, all the way to installation operation of solar plants. We see also that more and more companies from other industries are entering space and develop technologies and products for the solar industry, especially in connection with floating solar, energy storage systems. So we see also in our partner network that more and more companies, in particular from the oil and gas, maritime, and hydropower sector, are entering space and becoming members in our network. Again, problems to switch the slide. Here you get an impression of how many partners we have in our network. We are a relatively young cluster, and so are most of our partners. Most of them are startup and growth companies in a relatively early stage. However, we also have an increase in corporate partners and the ecosystem in general. We also see an increased interest from or intention from investors. The pace we see in the market requires overcoming a number of obstacles and ensuring that our partners throughout the supply chain can both accelerate and sustain their position. Here, again, finance is crucial. Our partners, we have a very broad variety of partners in our network and very different stages of development with very different capital requirements. For example, we have a number of companies that develop new technologies and products for the industry with a very high capex, such as floating PV installations or batteries. Those kind of investments also contain a different kind of development risk than, for example, those easy to scale, easy to use software solutions and apps, which we also have in our network. We also have several partners who are active in the in emerging markets with a special focus on Africa. Here we cooperate with completely different kind of investors. Impact investments are crucial here. Our cluster's goal is to facilitate growth through a holistic ecosystem, which includes a broad investor network, accelerator programs, innovation milieu. And the investors we work with answer all different kind of investment needs. We also have soft funding consultants in our network who help our startups and scale-ups to apply for public funding, also nationwide, but also on EU level. And we organize investor forums where our partners meet potential investors. Sorry for this technical. And here I already reached the last slide. We, the SolarEnergy cluster, believe in the power of networking, sharing insights and competence. And we hope that this conference will contribute to a closer dialogue between both countries, also within SolarEnergy. This is our team. We will be very happy if someone is interested in getting in touch with us or our partners, please feel free. Now I look forward to the rest of the day and the following presentations. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Katja, for this very good and comprehensive overview of the Norwegian solar sector. From solar, we are actually going to be moving to hydrogen, another very interesting sector and topic. We will continue from Norway, and joining us is Mr. Daniel Raz Vidal, the Norwegian Hydrogen Cluster CEO at Kjeller Innovasjon.
All right. Thank you very much, and thank you very much for organizing this event and making it possible for us to get in touch with our Estonian friends. I appreciate that a lot. I'm the CEO of Kjeller Innovation, as you said. We're a deep tech incubator, and we run accelerator programs. We also are the European Space Agency Business Incubation Center in Norway. And we are also running the Norwegian Hydrogen Cluster, H2 Cluster, which I will present today. So the aim of the presentation will be to give you an overview both of hydrogen and the potential and the market trend, but also a little bit more insight into the Norwegian part of this, because Norway has a quite unique starting point as a nation wanting to take a central part in the hydrogen economy, because we have a lot of industrial experience. We have great R&D institutions that have been working within hydrogen and fuel cell technologies for a very long time. And now the rest of the world and the markets are expected to basically expand very, very rapidly. So the vision for our cluster is to become a world-leading cluster for scaling hydrogen technology and competence. The cluster is quite new. It was established in 2019, and just a couple of weeks ago, we received a grant from Innovasjon Norway, which is the innovation agency here in Norway, for the ARENA cluster program. So that gives us a little bit more long-term perspective, and we expect that to be very important for us in the next 3 years and also going forward from there. Because this decade that we are entering now with the 20s, we're quite sure that this will be the decade when hydrogen finally comes into its own right. The mission for the cluster is to accelerate innovation, value creation, export, and the global energy transition in the world, basically. The market is at a starting point, but we want to be instrumental in increasing the national revenues to 5 billion Norwegian crowns and export revenues to 10 billion NOK before 2025. Just a few words about hydrogen, because I'm not sure if everyone is familiar with what it actually is. It's a gas, and it's the most abundant element in the universe. It can be produced using electrolysis, basically a renewable energy, put through an electrolysis, splitting water, and out you get hydrogen and oxygen. You can also use reformed natural gas, but then you need to capture the carbon and store it, so CCS technologies. And Norway is uniquely positioned within both these technologies. If you want to put it to use in the transport sector, you use a fuel cell. Basically, that's a refillable battery, and it has some advantages if you want to compare it to normal batteries. Because if you want to go very far and carry heavy payloads, batteries are just not enough today. So for the big aeroplanes, the big ships, or the big trucks and buses, hydrogen will be the solution of choice globally. Let's see, I'm just going to switch to the next one. See if I have the same problem as before or if it works. Maybe there's a little bit of a lag. See, I'm going to try this internet clicker. It says it's connected. Oh yeah, here we go. Great. The cluster is, like I said, quite new. We have 43 partners, 13 of them are core partners and 30 regular partners, and also a lot of collaborative organizations. This is our ecosystem. It's comprised of both R&D institutions, established companies, startups, and investors. And we expect this to grow, and the goal for us is to triple the number of companies within 3 years. So we will hopefully be more than 100 in a couple of years. Norway is an energy nation. We've always been focusing on that area, of course, in the oil and gas, but also within renewable electricity. We have, for example, companies like Statkraft, which is Europe's largest producer of renewable energy, and Equinor is the biggest company in the Nordics, oil and gas, that are now aiming to diversify their activities within the renewable sector, because that's where the growth will be coming in the coming years. Also, Nel is worth to mention. It's actually a company that has experience with hydrogen since almost 90 years. So there's a long industrial tradition here in Norway. If you look at the exports, the energy sector, the process industry sector, and the maritime and shipping sector almost comprises around 3/4 of Norwegian exports. So there's a lot of private interest, there's a lot of public support, and there's a lot of export ambitions in this sector already. And we expect the green transition to be driving this change that we will see in the coming years. See the next slide. Yeah. So 2020, like I said, I suppose I expect that this will be the decade of hydrogen. But if there's a year that marks the starting point, it must be 2020, because there has been a gradual and very escalating momentum for hydrogen this year. The Norwegian government launched their strategy in June. Shortly thereafter, Germany launched their strategy with very ambitious goals for green hydrogen production. And then the EU launched their hydrogen strategy as part of the Green Deal. And the reason the EU is doing this is that they see that there are many sectors that are very hard to decarbonize. But as we've seen from the presentation from the SolarEnergy cluster, we will see globally growth in solar, in wind, and other renewable energy sources. But hydrogen is not an energy source, it's an energy carrier, just like electricity. And as you know, batteries are used to carry electricity around, but batteries have their restrictions, and some of them are, we are not seeing the physical kind of boundaries of what batteries can do. Of course, no one knows what the future will bring, but as it stands today, hydrogen will be a very central and supplemental solution to batteries. So for us, it's not a question about either batteries or hydrogen. We should actually focus on using one application for what it's best for. Me, myself, I drive an electric car like many other Norwegians, and it's a great solution for that. But if you want to have the heavier applications and also work this within industry, you need hydrogen. Just to give you an example of this, This is the global primary energy consumption. As you can see, the renewable will be growing and probably even faster than this chart from the International Energy Outlook. But if you look at one country, in this case Norway, we have a very interesting picture here. I will take you through it here. Our main emissions today come from the oil and gas sector, which is the black one on top, and the three next ones are manufacturing, road traffic, and aviation, shipping and fishery, more or less transport sectors. These sectors are using a lot of combustion engines today, and I'm quite sure that within 10 years we will see the end of commercial use of combustion engines, and it will be phased out quite rapidly, just as we have seen in the electric car sector here in Norway, where 50% of new cars sold in 2020, more than that, is actually wholly electric car, not hybrid, just pure electric cars. We will see the same development when it comes to heavy transport, but then it will be hydrogen. We will see it in manufacturing, where everything from ammonia to metals and silicon will be produced using green hydrogen and electricity. So electrification is a mega trend that also comprises hydrogen. And this, as you can see also on the light green line at the bottom, we already have almost 100% renewable energy production because we use hydropower in Norway already. But the need to introduce more electricity production with solar and wind and other renewable sources will be quite great, because we're going to transform and electrify both the industrial sector that today uses fossil sources and also the heavy transport sectors. Just to give you a few examples of how this is done, or will be done the coming years. This is Green H2 Energy Norway, which is a joint venture between Nel, Greenstat and Akershus Energi, a company located just outside of Oslo. This consortia aims to be the second country after Switzerland to introduce Hyundai's first hydrogen-powered trucks to Norway. So these are already out in the market and rolling around in Switzerland, but what this consortia will do is to establish the production, the distribution, the filling stations, the infrastructure, and also engage with the end users, which is the logistics and transport companies. And this all needs to happen at the same time, and that is quite crucial for anything in hydrogen. You need to develop the value chain simultaneously and take some decisions simultaneously. And this we hope will make Norway the second country in Europe with a large-scale introduction of heavy-duty trucks running on completely renewable hydrogen produced by renewable sources. Next case is actually a collaboration between Statkraft and Celsa. Celsa is the biggest maker of steel in construction in Norway, and they want to make this process completely climate neutral using hydrogen and also utilizing the byproducts such as heat and oxygen in the Mo industrial park. Next case is from the maritime sector, a beautiful Norwegian fjord. Problem is during the summer when all the tourists come, they run today on heavy diesel fuels, and that creates basically a layer of smog, so you can't see the beautiful fjord. And that obviously diminishes the kind of expectation from the tourists and the value of the experience. So this consortia here between all these companies and municipalities in the west of Norway aim to deliver both hydrogen ferries and the complementary infrastructure to make clean zero-emission shipping based on hydrogen happen with the tourist ferries in the Geiranger fjord. Also, looking forward a little bit further out in time, it is more or less concluded by both companies like Airbus, which is one of the biggest in the world, but also the EU says now that hydrogen will be the solution to ensure climate neutral aviation by 2050. Of course, you can fly smaller planes again on batteries, But if you want to have more than 60 or 70 or up to 200 or even 300-400 passengers going forward in time, you will need solutions involving hydrogen and synthetic e-fuels. So we have taken the initiative to this in Norway. We think Norway has a unique starting point for climate neutral transport as well, thanks to our position in energy in general and also hydrogen. I'm going to round up here very soon. So the good news for us is that we have the unique possibility to cut emissions in Norway. We can make this into a great growth engine for the country. This will eventually lead to the end of oil and gas in Norway, but that's part of the big plan. We shall invest money in the future and not in the old solutions. So on that note, I want to finish up and thank you. If you want to get in touch with us, you'll find the contact info here. My colleague Knut is the cluster manager for H2 clusters, and what we do is connect partners, companies to market opportunities. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Daniel, for this very good overview of the hydrogen sector. We are actually now switching back to our studio here in Estonia. We are going to see presentations from 3 different Estonian companies, and I am very glad to welcome here on stage with me Mr. Ilya Bolkhovskiy from Rexplorer. Ilya.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. It's a great pleasure for me to be here. Actually, my background is in earth science, in oceanography. I'm very passionate about the nature and environments and wildlife conservation. And that's why I've recently found myself in a new startup called Rexplorer. And today I will tell you why I believe today is the second golden age of geography and how our company helps renewable energy companies succeed in finding new places for construction without compromising the environment. So, back in times, in Renaissance era, cartographers were able to unlock an unprecedented amount of data and knowledge about our planet, about its boundaries, and the nature of our planet. We were exploring, we were conquering, we were in offense. Today, the situation is different. Today, we are in defense because climate change is a real danger for all the humanity and all the living creatures. Luckily, we are able to reduce CO2 emissions by producing more renewable energy. Just take a look at this graph, how amazing it is to live at these times, at this inflation point when we have those wind and solar production coming up and right. It's incredible. And there is a forecast that by 2030, the production of wind and solar energy will overcome oil and gas industry. This is totally amazing. Unfortunately, only reducing CO2 emissions isn't enough. We also need to get rid of that atmospheric carbon which was already emitted. And there is a tool for that. According to Global Safety Net project, just by increasing the amount of conservation land by 2.3%, we are able to save rarest plants and animal species on our planet within the next 5 years. So we need proper land management. But here's the problem. We need to produce more megawatts of renewable energy to reduce carbon emissions. At the same time, we need to preserve wildlife while constructing those new power plants. Yeah, and we need to reduce the existing atmospheric carbon through improved land use management. So today, our Rexplorer is dealing with the 2 first problems. What we offer is the careful environmental impact assessment. So we study all about that region. We study all the restrictions, all the habitats, of rare species and plants and animals. And we also do technical feasibility calculation for that renewable energy project. And we are able today to find new places for constructing wind and solar plants, and then compare them and find the best one. And here's how we do this. Take a look at our case study. Recently, we helped finding new land plots for wind farms in Põhja-Pärnumaa. Let's take a look. Here's our area of region. Pretty much it's just a map, and we have mapped all the residential buildings there. The fact is that we cannot put a turbine closer than 700 meters to your house. But we go further. We increase that limit to 1 kilometer because people don't like when there's a turbine next to your house. This is true. So we've mapped those residential areas, and you can see you can't put a turbine there. Next, we mapped all the regions from Nature 2000, which is European Commission project to preserve the most beautiful, most valuable lands all across Europe. So we've put those lands there. Now we have even more land available for constructing new wind plants. But this is not all. We need to put more information. We bring local data about such rare inhabitants of Estonia as white-tailed eagle, Merikotkas. Yeah, there are just 2 of us, but we haven't finished yet still. Now we put all the restrictions for water protection zones and building restrictions. Not so many, though. Now we put more data about birds, other rare birds in Estonia. And we move on and add more layers about rare plants, rare mushrooms, rare leeches. So we have even fewer lands available for construction. What we can do now is we map those available regions for construction. And this is the result of our work. And I have to say, this is the most basic analysis that we do. You can imagine the complexity we have to deal with. We haven't finished yet. Now we need to talk to landowners about constructing new power plants. So we map those owners on the map, and we can now start reaching them out to talk to them and to convince them about constructing new power plants and pitch them the value of those power plants, the benefits for local community. It's a huge work to do with local community because, you know, there is resistance. Still there is a resistance. And we do that work. We help you connect with landowners. We find companies, we find private persons, and we are able to find those regions where the community is ready to adopt renewable energy technologies. Here's the example of the areas which we have mapped for Pärnu County. We can do this for any county in Estonia. As an example, we have done that for many counties for the whole Estonia, although the work is in progress. We can go further and build a detailed wind farms plan. So we tell you where exactly to put your wind turbine and where to put a cable and where to connect to a grid. We take into account different environmental criteria such as surface roughness, forest height, and other criteria. So who we are? We are a young startup established this summer. We are a spin-off of renewable energy development company Sunly. And today we have mapped for ourselves 3 main customer segments. We aim to serve renewable energy development companies, such as our mother company Sunly. We work with local communities and municipalities, and we also aim to help end users, such as solar panel owners, to calculate the return of investment when installing a new solar panel for their residential building. Our vision is that everyone can be a renewable energy producer. And for that, we try to make search for new solar and wind plants as fast as easy as few mouse clicks. We are just a team of 3 experts in engineering and SCADA, environmental studies, and product development. By the way, say hi to us at hi@Rexplorer.ee. Dear investors, if you are listening to this talk, I have to tell you that today is the best time to work on a geospatial startup. And to prove that, I'm bringing a quote of my old Twitter friend and a veteran of geospatial technology, Joe Morrison from the US. In our startup, we have a few principles. We believe that projects should be designed in a way to encourage collaboration, but not competition. We invest in open standards and open source tools. And we believe that government should make data more freely available and accessible for everyone. This is Rexplorer. My name is Ilya. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ilya, for this great overview of your business. We will now move on to the next company. I would like to welcome on stage with me Mr. Raimond Russak, representing the company Roofit.Solar. Raimond, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Hello. I'm very happy to report to you about our nice progress and also investment opportunity. In 2019, basically all EU member states agreed to push for climate neutral EU for 2050. Buildings have massive role to play in this transformation, as they cause more than 1/3 of the CO2 emissions. It is 23,000 houses per day. Every and each day we have to renovate until 2050 in order to reach these EU climate targets. Building integrated solar panels have a very significant role to play in this transformation, but so far BIPV has not done very well. Why? It is a little bit expensive, has been so far. It is difficult to install. The installation has not been standardized, and perhaps it could be the look also. Roofit.Solar designed new type of product where we combine existing traditional metal roof with solar technology. Our solution, if it is installed on the roof, it looks pretty much same as the regular roof. It is easy to install. It is also cheaper compared to if you have to buy a new roof and install standard panels on it. It doesn't need any extra frames or mounting devices. It is just simple 2-in-1 product. Our company, Roofit.Solar, has founded in 2016, and our traction has been proved by Estonian president and also by more than 100 roofs sold in 8 different countries all over Europe, but also by pre-order of 400 roofs, which is about 3 megawatts. We also cooperate with large roofing companies in Scandinavia, like Ruukki, and also Bluff Profile in Central Europe. Here is the picture where you can see and be convinced even more that how our roofs look like. Also that it is really simple and very logical way to go for solar. This is also probably the reason why we have got a lot of recognition and awards basically almost in every event we have applied to. If you take these 250 million houses needs to renovate. Then 80 million out of that is suitable for solar roofs. If you take just a marginal 2% out of this, we end up with 50,000 roofs annually. It means 500 million euros annual turnover. In the last 2-3 years, we have learned a lot about roofing industry. And it's not enough to have just great product to grow and scale. It takes more. You need digital support for the product. You also need new ways how to sell your product. This is one of the ways what we call roof as a service. Our product is ready, but it can do even better by making the cost, reduce the costs, making tile roof solution for wider geographical range or reach, and also to have a retrofit product in place for retrofit industry. We have put a lot of effort in our digital platform, and it seems to be key to the market today. Our roof planning software is not able only to plan the roof for ourselves, but it can also design the roof of any other roof material. It will also take care of data of each and every household about how much consumed, how much produced, and so on. And this is kind of precondition to our future offering to the market, what we call roof as a service, but also grid services. So far, we have raised 4.4 million euros as equity and grant money, and we are now ready for expansion. For this one, I'm really happy to open our A round investment opportunity, where we are looking for 6 million euros. Part of it is covered already by existing investors, but they can't take it all. So our team has done a great job. We have a great production plant in the Tallinn. We have installed and produced 100 roofs and even more in pipeline. So you are welcome to ask for more. We are making beautiful solar roofs. My name is Raimond, and I'm from Roofit.Solar. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Raimond. Very interesting stuff. I really do hope to have a similar roof on my house one day.
Yes, we talk about it.
Thank you very much. So we are actually now moving on to our next Estonian company. I would like to welcome on stage with me Mr. Ivar Kruusenberg from PowerUP Energy Technologies.
Hi,
Ivar.
hello. My name is Ivar. I'm from PowerUP Energy Technologies, and we are manufacturing hydrogen fuel cell-based smart electric generators. Why they're so smart? Because we are combining not only hydrogen fuel cells, but also lithium-ion batteries and possibly also supercapacitors into one portable box. And our first initial target market is the maritime market, and this is how the sailors are envisioning the sailing. They usually dream about water splashing to the boat, sun shining, etc., etc. Really nice experience. However, it ends quite often totally another way around because of the corrosion happening on the diesel generators. Also, the batteries have already proven to be too heavy for the maritime application, plus they're a huge fire hazard. So it may happen that in the middle of the ocean, two of your diesel generators, if you have double system, do not start, and your batteries may get into the fire, so you may lose your boat. In the worst case, you may even lose your life. So besides the noisy, smelly diesel generators and the heavy batteries, there's obviously two others already available solutions, wind turbines and the solar panels, but these also have been proven already to be too weather dependent and not reliable enough. And this is the main reason we came out with this amazing product, the smart electric generator. And our first initial product, UP 400, which you will see from the slide as well, it weighs only 10 kilograms. It's the size of the small toolbox. So it's really nice and portable. It doesn't need any maintenance because there's almost no moving parts. It's also silent, and most important, it's zero emission. And with this 400 watts, what you can really do, you can run everything on the boat or on your camping car. You can run the lights, even start an engine from the batteries or supercaps if really needed. So it's really small, but at the same time, powerful product. And as said, it's 100% sustainable and zero emission. And in comparison to the battery technologies, what's the biggest advantage is that it's more than 10 times lighter than the best battery technology on the market. And we already have secured a number of distributors worldwide, including also Scandinavia. Plus, we are looking for additional distributors for several markets. And obviously, we are not alone on the market. There's competitors, but our product is much more powerful, and it's also the only product which really can climb to be zero emission. And the market segments, the maritime is not the only market for us. This product, as said, can be used for the camping cars, obviously the military market, and also telecommunication market and the refrigerated systems. These are really big market segments for us. And interesting market segments besides these are the off-grid homes and also the electrical vehicles. There's already in the Scandinavia customers who's looking into the backup power systems to extend the range of their electric cars. And UP 400 is not the only product in the range. We already have UP 200. We also will have by the end of the year UP 1K. And in upcoming year, we are planning to launch the market for the UP 6K and also come to the market with the first fuel cell stacks of PowerUP Energy Technologies. And our bigger scale-up plan is to scale this really amazing product to the refrigerated container because they have the same pain point as the maritime market overall with the corrosion, with the maintenance, with the reliability, etc., etc. So there's a lot of pains we can really relieve with UP generators on this market. And this market is increasing really fast and is really enormous, especially taking into account all the truck delivery and the consequences brought by the COVID. And by that, we expect within 5 years to get to the 70 million in revenue. And obviously, the main question is where to get the hydrogen. We have been working with the biggest gas suppliers now for a while. We have also prepared the hydrogen strategy of ours, and we have been working out this for our customers. So the hydrogen is actually widely available, and we can bring this solution to the market quite easily. And how we can make it because of our really unique IP. We have more than 15 years of experience in the fuel cell research, so we have this deep tech experience with us. And obviously, a really great team with a variety of skills What is big advantage is also that our team is international and with some experience, hard to find. And also the advisory board, we have former vice president of Apple, for example, and some of the advisors who's even nominated to the Nobel Prize. And we're currently looking for the funding. We already actually up to close the first round and looking to close the second bigger round of also 5 million euros by the end of the 2021. So we are happy to discuss this with any potential interested investors as well. So that would be it from my side. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Ivar. Again, very, very interesting and innovative stuff. And I think with this, we can actually welcome on stage our other companies as well. Please take a seat and we can move on to the Q&A session. I think to start things off, I would like to ask all of you. So with any new and innovative product, I guess there's always a question of product market fit. So I guess my question to all of you would be, how do you see your product fitting the Norwegian market? Ilya, maybe you can start.
Sure. Perfect question. In fact, today we have a Norwegian partner, and I had a chance to talk about the local problems. And what I found is very interesting one. In Norway, there's a very hot topic today. It is climate budget or carbon budget. And every municipality needs to calculate those climate budgets. And I believe that almost no one knows how to do that today. There are companies who provide Excel templates or Word templates, and they just leave you on your own. And good luck with filling in those templates and calculating those budgets. And I think that today Rexplorer is able to help with that problem. Because we are building a platform which essentially evaluates the environmental impact and helps you to see which new project will bring you the highest return of investment, the lowest CO2 production. So instead of like spending your efforts and time on defeating one project which will probably emit higher CO2 and will bring lower monetary rewards, you can spot in some good opportunities, other opportunities, and help the community to see the bigger picture. Because again, the community is a very, very big problem today. You need to show the community the value of this or another project and communicate that clearly and carefully.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. So a very good fit.
Yeah, I would say so.
Very good, thank you. Raimond, what about Roofit.Solar?
Yes, my answer would be really, really simple. I've been in Norway quite a few times and I like the country. And I'm pretty sure that you don't like to ruin your nice architecture with regular solar roofs. So even if the metal roofs are not common in every region of Norway, it is also, anyway, the thing to consider to still continue your kind of technology-like people to use solar energy at the same time not ruining the environment and look. Yeah, good fit.
Perfect, thank you. Ivar, what about you?
I think we can say exactly the same. We started development of the bigger product for the telecommunication market with one of the Scandinavian biggest telco company. So this is something we can definitely provide into Norwegian market. There's also already interest from the oil drilling companies because they need spark-proof electric generators, and they obviously try to also be more zero emission and greener than they have been so far. And also fishing industry obviously is the big thing in Norway, where for the fishing boats we can supply also the backup power systems. And obviously the sailing is a big thing all around Scandinavia, including Norway. There's a lot of fjords, so I think it's perfect there. And Norway is one of the leading countries for the hydrogen as well. So we see a lot of opportunities in Norwegian market. Great fit for us.
Excellent. And as I can see, a lot of different potential use cases as well in the different segments.
Absolutely. As we also have a different sizes of generators, different range can be really met. So yeah, I think we can fit quite well almost everywhere.
Great. Now moving on to the next question. Actually, today we have been hearing a lot about the different sources of energy. For example, we've heard about wind, we've heard about solar, we've heard about hydrogen. In your opinion, these different sources, do you think they are a little bit competing with each other, or maybe adding to each other? How do you see this sort of relationship between the different sources of energy? Ilya, maybe you can start.
Sure. I will touch probably only solar and wind. And I must say that solar, as we see it today, is a door opener for wind projects, because it's better for a person to adopt an idea of installing a solar panel or solar roof on their house, see the value, see the economical benefits, and then get the idea of installing a wind turbine next to their house, like in some distance, of course. Because again, I'm coming back again and again to community problem. It's a hard subject to communicate the renewable energy development projects to the community, and in that way, solar is the most easy to understand technology.
Very good. Raimond?
Yes, I also see that that they can just support each other, all the ways you produce energy or store. So there is no big competition between these different ways. Yeah.
Great.
So we have wind and solar to produce electricity, but we need to think where we can store this electricity, which is produced via wind and solar. Plus, there's quite often overproduction. So batteries they're a great solution, but we cannot rely only on the batteries. So I think hydrogen is really complementing, taking it all together. Wind, solar. If we add hydrogen as a energy storage, it fits. I mean, it fits the whole picture.
Great. Yeah, I definitely see that there's again a very good synergies here within the different segments. They complement each other very nicely, and I think this again goes to show that there are very good opportunities for business here in Estonia in all the different segments when we take a look at CleanTech as a wider sector. With this, I would like to thank again all the participants that we've had in this CleanTech segment.